thing is, it's Bitcoin is either going to zero or it's going to a million. Well, guess what? It's not going to zero. It's not going to zero. So it's going to a million. But as we know, that's Bitcoin has no top because fiat has no bottom. So it's going to 2 million, it'll go to 5 million, it'll go to 10 million. Go check out Luke Broyles' videos as to some of his projections on this. But it's accurate, and it's why even someone has 0.01 Bitcoin or 0.1 Bitcoin, it may just seem immaterial relative to the level of wealth, but that could be tremendous amounts of money in the future. And I think that's what will get most people there. I deal with this in my own family. I have family members and seeing, they're retired in their, 70s, maybe early 80s. And they, it's like they work their whole life, they save, and now they have to figure out how they're allocating their portfolio. They have to be a part-time hedge fund manager when they have no investment experience. Oh, I need to get some CDs. I need to have some real estate. Oh, I need to have this mutual fund or this dividend fund and this gold. It's like, and then how do I balance it? And it's incredibly complicated. And then as well, for someone who doesn't want a lot of volatility and they're sitting, I want to be overweight in CDs and bonds, that are paying 4 to 5% interest that's taxes ordinary income, and they're just getting their wealth stolen from them, which is ultimately robbing their future generations. It's robbing their kids. It's robbing their grandkids. Being able to simplify things and having just a true sound money where you don't need to think about that anymore. You could save in Bitcoin. You could accrue the value across the entire network. Everyone's contributions to it over time makes your savings more valuable. We can go back to a savings-based future instead of people trying to trying to pick the next winner or figure out what's the optimal way to do this. I bring that point up just because in my own personal life, I think that's what in trying to help my family members understand some of these things who, aren't going to think of maybe, well, I'm not going to be debanked, or I don't need the self-custody or any of that stuff. But it goes back to the ETFs as well, why I think it is very helpful in really broadening adoption, much like my story in which I said in buying in 2017 and just getting it a part of my universe. Anyone at the beginning of 2024 who maybe just threw a little bit of IBIT into their portfolio, well, guess what? It's been, was it 18 months or something since that point? How is that IBIT looking in terms of performance relative to everything else in their portfolio? Well, now let's take that 5 years out. Let's take that 10 years out. Ultimately, over time, people are going to come to the conclusion, give to just the exponential compounding that Bitcoin will do relative to any other asset class. They're going to have to look at that. They're going to have to look at their screen and say, well, why am I in this mutual fund that I've had since the late 1990s? Why am I in these bonds kicking off a couple percent yield when I could have just saved in Bitcoin and then just maybe shaved off a little bit to meet any fiat income needs that I have. So I think I mean, I know this is somewhat of a, I don't know, controversial within more the pure Bitcoin community. We're just exiting paper Bitcoin summer here, but I do think that these things are significant in helping people kind of just expand the broader knowledge, which will ultimately lead to greater adoption. Another point on that as well, which we could go down it, but I think the preferred stock offerings from Strategy are very significant. Have over $300 trillion bond market. I mean, keep in mind the entirety value of the Bitcoin network is 2 trillion. But the bond market over 300 trillion. Jesse Myers, that famous the famous graph that he does that Saylor references all the time of where total value is stored across all various asset classes for 2025. What is that? It's at 1,000 trillion. I mean, Bitcoin makes up 0.02% of that. And as you know, you can make compelling arguments why over time that could grow into 50% of that. But particularly for older individuals that are retired, they're living on a fixed income, and they do view something like CDs or something like that, or bonds, as a steady source of income without even realizing the debasement that's happening underneath them. Being able to combine Bitcoin with TradFi based products, even like what Grant Cardone's doing, combining Bitcoin with real estate. It improves upon any TradFi based product that could be a good introductory step for someone into Bitcoin. So giving someone a blend of a guaranteed yield, like, like yeah, that's exactly it. Yep, that's the updated $1,000 trillion value. That's where we sit with Bitcoin at 2 trillion, and that's the market opportunity. I mean, the first one is just the gold comparison is so obvious. I love to use the Blockbuster and Netflix comparison. Gold, the physical version, the Blockbuster, Bitcoin, the Netflix, or you could use, say, the local, what used to be maybe the local general store in your town where you had to go to get your supplies. Well, now you have Amazon. The digital version supersedes the physical version. And gold being the physical version, Bitcoin being the digital version, not only does, and not only just that, I mean, but improving upon all of the limitations that gold has, will not only, I mean, in every instance we could name in technology, the digital version not only tends to catch up and equal the physical version, but usually far exceeds it. And so we're over a 10x opportunity in Bitcoin just to catch up to gold, but it's so much more significant than that. And that's I try to use that example to people because I think that's the first step in it. But it's so much more than that. I look at real estate. I used to invest in real estate before I understood Bitcoin. I thought, oh yeah, you invest in real estate and you get the cash flow, and I don't know why anyone would invest in real estate now. I don't know why. It makes no sense to invest in real estate. And it's frankly, like I'm on X and I see these real estate bros talking about buying these cash flowing properties in the Midwest. And it's like, buying properties that are, can be 1, 2, 3, 4 Bitcoin. Like having a portfolio of rental properties relative to owning just like one Bitcoin is just going to be seen as such a massive misallocation of capital and such a massive error into the future. Bonds, don't even get me going on that. I don't know why anyone owns a bond. Then we could just go down the line. This is, you want to talk about value investing. Where's value in the market? You want to buy the Mag 7 stocks. You want to pay, I don't even know where it's at, a 30 PE for Apple stock. You want to get into Amazon stock. What are you paying for the future value of these cash flows relative to the growth you could experience in Bitcoin? I mean, you said in Bitcoin, it projected 30% CAGR 20, 21 years from now. You're looking at, I mean, you could be in the tens of millions per coin. I mean, as Saylor puts forth in his bear, base, and bull case. But anyway, yeah, thank you, Rob, for pulling that up.
I think that makes it very clear. And I think also, as you said, the bond market, first of all, like who would invest in bonds? Like I have no clue why I would put any money in bonds. And then the second thing, as you mentioned before, that's why I also brought it up, is you said with strategy and other products, tackling long-term the bond market, it's a no-brainer. Like people will just flock into the best performing bond, which will be the Bitcoin bond, and however it's called and how the different products are structured. And then the bond market might still be a lot, but it's actually partly the Bitcoin market. So I think Bitcoin is just like building from all those layers here some sort of pipe towards Bitcoin, and it's the one that is eating everything. Probably not everything, because there's like obviously some value in gold and in art and cars and real estate. Like it will not suck up 100%, but it will suck up a good portion of all of it. I love this chart because it shows how tiny Bitcoin is, and people always see we had $100,000, we had 110, we have 120. Oh yeah, like it does not matter. Like first of all, it's just a unit, and you have to look at the market cap. And second of all, look at how tiny Bitcoin is. Like that's tiny. Here, gold is a 10x, and honestly, I think. The most bearish case I have for Bitcoin is that it will just outperform gold by 10x. So will be worth like 200 trillion. That's for me kind of the worst case for Bitcoin at that moment, which is more than some other bull cases. But that's for me the worst case. The best case is Bitcoin just sucks up 50% of everything, and it's 500, 600 trillion in today's dollars terms. So it's just crazy when we actually start to calculating what's possible with Bitcoin, and nobody knows what the top is because there is no top, and we've never seen this digital scarcity in anything. Like we've never had something like Bitcoin, so like the possibilities are just endless.
The finite nature, the finite nature of it, like how many coins are actually floating around, going down the line of 8 billion global population. But even there, say there's 60 million millionaires globally, 40 of which live in the Western world, 21 million Bitcoin. If every 1 million millionaire wanted one, they couldn't get a full coin. But as we know, remove 1 million coins for Satoshi, remove all the Bitcoin that's owned by ETFs, remove MicroStrategy's 635,000 Bitcoin, whatever it is now, and start going down the line. There's really not a whole lot of Bitcoin floating out there. And I do like Saylor's analogy in saying that we are kind of living, we are living in the Bitcoin gold rush era. And if you want to get your hands on some Bitcoin, like now is the time to do it, because even one Bitcoin at roughly $100,000 a coin, someone say has $1 million net worth, they would allocate 10%, buying that one Bitcoin, like that will just be an unfathomable amount of wealth for their grandkids. Project, like I'm 36 years old, so when I'm 66 years old, kids that I'll be speaking with, say I was to go speak to some high school kids, they won't be able to comprehend that I was that you were able to buy one, that someone owns one Bitcoin. That will never be achievable in their lifetime. Much like in our generation, we look at the boomers who said, wow, you bought your house for $30,000 and you did it when you were, 28 years old. And it's like that we're buying just a normal house seems out of reach for so many people nowadays. That's exactly what it will be for Bitcoin. The opportunity that we have in front of us to accumulate and stack Bitcoin. It's why it's so important for the little guy to understand it, because it's the opportunity to front run what is the most asymmetric trade in possibly human history. Like that is the opportunity that we're looking at. There's no greater investment opportunity that one can understand. And whether someone is, people are going off to work every day, clocking in their 9 to 5 or doing whatever it is they do. They're not going to be able to outwork the debasement. Two, the extra hours that they put in at their work, maybe they're striving to get that promotion and get a little bit of extra money, which is great. But there is no single thing that they could do that would be more impactful for their financial future to understand the ramifications of them and their family members owning Bitcoin and holding it. Nothing will be of greater financial significance to them. So it's part of the reason why we get out there and we talk about this, because it's hard. We get lost in the noise day to day. We're just at you're on X all the time as well. Past 2 weeks, people are freaking out. MSTRs, Bitcoin was 123. Now we're at 110. It feels so bearish out there. Robin, when we were hanging out a year ago at Bitcoin Amsterdam, we're at like $60,000 Bitcoin. We're at 110 right now, and everyone's freaking out. Like, go back 5 years. Let's project out 5 years from now where we're at in the Bitcoin price. Everyone needs to chill out. Everyone needs to chill out and just take a step back and look at the big picture as to the opportunity in front of us. I would hope so to try to get this communicated to people's family members. As I said, there's no bigger decision that one will make to provide security and prosperity for one's bloodline in the future.
I 100% totally agree with that. And I'm amazed how bearish people are, even though we are up, let me not say something wrong, but we are up the past 1 year, the past 12 months, 91%. So we almost doubled the last 12 months, and people act like we are down 30%, we're down 40%. we are up 91% the last 12 months. That's if you say like we can make this calculation really quickly. Let me calculate that. We have now exactly a calculator. We have now 110,000, so 100 and oh gosh, 110,000. If we doubling every year now for the next 5 years, so that same performance in the last 12 months, we will be next year at 220. This will be 2026, 2027, we will be at 440. 2028, we will be already at 880,000. Then we will be at 1.7 million in 2029. And in 2025, we would be at 3.5 million US dollars. So those 90, 100% a year, which some people think we're in a bear market, those are crazy numbers. And if this is not realistic, I don't think 90% is a realistic CAGR for Bitcoin. Probably like 40, 50, 30, 20, whatever, still amazing numbers. But I'm almost getting emotional when people are saying, oh, like, why is Bitcoin so boring and not doing anything? Man, we are up 92%. Like get some low time preference.
Yeah, I hear that from people as well. I mean, we could talk about price probably all day, but people say, oh, well, like, if Bitcoin's great, like, why does it go down? Why does it go down in price? Like, I don't know if people used to say that. It's like, it's just take a step back, look at the big picture. I just posted this on my X the other day. It showed the price of Bitcoin on each Labor Day. In the United States, we had a holiday yesterday, Labor Day, and showed the price going back from 2012, just on that singular day, on Labor Day each year from 2012. And I posted, I'm like, people look at this chart and say to themselves, I don't know, it seems risky, better sit on the sidelines to wait to see how this plays out. And it's like it's playing out in front of your eyes. And if it's why studying Bitcoin is the single most lucrative thing you could do with your time. I thought about this a while back, and based on the CAGR, and as discussing before, based on the relative wage bump you could get in terms of a promotion at your job, maybe an extra side hustle you can get, nothing is going to have a bigger impact than understanding what's going on in this market in regards to Bitcoin.
100%. And I want to show you something fun, because you have mentioned before the boomers that are buying houses for like 30,000 and selling them for like millions. And there's this amazing meme where it says boomers, and I will just quickly show this with you. You probably have seen that. I've seen it so many times, and it still just gets me how wholesome this video is. For me at least. So this is the meme: boomers selling their homes for $2 million after buying them in 1969 for 7 raspberries. And I hope you all can hear now the the sound of that.
It's so true. It's so true. But I'm a millennial, or if you're in Gen Z, it's like opt out of that madness. Don't buy the $800,000, $1 million, $2 million house. Like, buy Bitcoin and wait. I mean, housing price. That's another thing. Housing prices are actually collapsing, denominated in Bitcoin, right? You could pull up the other meme that's out there, or just the infographic, but it shows like back in in America at least, you have a standard house that we measure against, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. In 2016, I'll probably get the numbers a little bit wrong, but it'll be close enough. And for this example, in 2016, that house cost around 650 Bitcoin. Fast forward 2020, that's going to cost around 40 Bitcoin. Fast forward to today, that house is probably like 4 Bitcoin. Pretty soon that house is going to be 1 Bitcoin. Pretty soon that house is going to be half a Bitcoin. And same with the grocery store. People say, oh man, groceries are so expensive. Like, what happened? I remember a few years ago, the price of eggs, or the price of whatever it is that they're buying, the price of going to Chipotle and getting a burrito bowl, or McDonald's, or whatever it is, the price of a hamburger Well, they're pricing it in fiat terms. If you're living on a Bitcoin standard, it's like, oh man, isn't this fantastic? Like the price of everything just keeps going down. Like this is great, but that like blows people's minds. But sometimes I say it in a joking way like that around people just to get them thinking in terms of um, um, considering that if you were to denominate something in a different unit of account, you might have a different outcome in your life and view the world around you differently.
I 100% agree, and I just pull it up because I think it's truly amazing. You see the median U.S. house priced in Bitcoin, and you can start. I think it starts at like 2011. Obviously, 2011, it's an outrageously high price. I don't even know how many. It's like 300, 400,000 Bitcoin, something like that. And then if you go down to let's say 2017, we already are at 300 Bitcoin. So we went from 300,000 Bitcoin to 300 Bitcoin in 6 years. Then let's put out another 6 years. We're going from 300 Bitcoin in 2023 to 18 Bitcoin. And then 2 years more from 18 Bitcoin, as you said before, to just 4 Bitcoin. And this will be in a few years' time just a Bitcoin. And at some point, you will buy a home, a nice home for 0.1 Bitcoin. And people will be shocked. and we will be like, oh, how can you be shocked? We've talking about that since years. And I know like if you got into Bitcoin in 2013, congratulations. Like there was no education out there. There was no podcast out there, no books. I know there's something was out there, but almost nothing. Right now, there are so many podcasts, so many books, so many great articles. So like the president is talking about it. Like please listen to what people are saying about Bitcoin, because now you don't have an excuse why you didn't buy. The only excuse is you are either, and I mean, it sounds very rude when I say it like that, but the excuse is either arrogance, ignorance, or laziness. Like, like one of those three things, because I think everyone is smart enough to understand Bitcoin. You don't have to be super smart to understand Bitcoin. It's not that complicated. If you get fiat, you will get Bitcoin. And so it's just about your preference where you spend your time.
That's all it is. That's all it is. And like I said before, the single most lucrative thing you could do with your time is to understand this topic. That's it.
100%. One more thing that I want to get into with you is in general the treasury companies. We've mentioned, I think, strategy and MetaPlanet that you are into. How do you look at them, and what is kind of the significance of them for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as I said, obviously Michael Saylor had a really big impact on my understanding of Bitcoin. And I think in the earlier days of what he was doing, I mean, I thought it was interesting, but I don't think I grasped the significance, or anyone really did, to see where it would lead to today. I never I never would have thought of the preferred stock offerings that he's doing to tap the fixed income market, and now seeing the direct the opportunity that he has with that. I mean, he just announced was it earlier today that he's increasing the dividend for Stretch, the STRC money market product, where you can now, I believe it was earlier this morning, checking today's prices, you can get a 10.3% yield on what's effectively a money market equivalent fund. It's over double where you're getting anywhere else. If anyone is remotely paying attention to this and they're in any CDs, bonds, REITs, rental properties, traditional just blue chip dividend funds, how could you not be taking a look at this as by far and away the best income producing products on the market, backed by Bitcoin? So I think the opportunities are so significant with MSTR. I mean, that's just talking about the preferreds. That's a whole separate conversation. But where they're ultimately going with this, I mean, to be the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin and establish his monopoly status over 630,000 Bitcoin now, I don't think anyone will ever be able to catch him. And the optionality that will give him in the future to grow into and become what I believe will be the most valuable company in the world. And right now in the gold rush era, it's focused on accumulation. But where is this 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now? And he could go a number of directions, whether he wants to become the the Solomon Brothers or Goldman Sachs of Bitcoin, could evolve into a Berkshire Hathaway like entity. Because at some point, like right now, like you want to buy and hold Bitcoin because it's going to be very difficult to find investments that are going to outperform the compounded annual growth rate of Bitcoin from this point going forward. However, 20 years from now, that'll be a different case. You will go invest your Bitcoin. You will buy operating companies that will be able to produce returns that are in excess of what you would get just holding Bitcoin. And you will go make that investments that will produce SAP flow to your shareholders, and you could build out a Berkshire Hathaway type of engine and own a portfolio of companies. On the, but also right now, like, I mean, I think MSTR has like solidified themselves as the monopoly status, but I'm particularly interested in if you go to my X page, I talk about this all the time. I think MetaPlanet is by far and away the most interesting story in the non-strategy treasury space, with the unique characteristics in the Japanese market, the most yield starved market in the developed world, the management team of what Simon and Dylan have executed on. I mean, they started off this year with a little over 1,500 Bitcoin. Now they just had their EGM earlier this week. They're now at 20,000 Bitcoin. And within the next six weeks, they could be, I mean, depending on where the price ends up, it could be between 40,000 and 50,000 Bitcoin.
Thank you for watching this video. This was only a snippet of the podcast, and if you want to watch the full episode and get all of the context of this episode, you can click right here or here. Oh, maybe also here.